What's up, 11.7 Nation? We have a special guest in today in Hoover, Alabama, ready to pitch tomorrow in the SEC tournament. It is TJ Sikkema from Missouri, second team all-conference. So congratulations on that. That just got released today. That's big time, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. It was actually I found out about 10 minutes ago. So
Nice.
yeah.
Oh, dang. So we didn't get to break the news to you. That'd have been cool. But yeah. So TJ is he's a lefty pitcher from Missouri and is just absolutely carving dudes up this year. He's a junior, which makes him draft eligible, but I know he doesn't have his sights set on that quite yet. He's got some unfinished business. Missouri looking at potential 2-3 seed somewhere in there for the regional and maybe even host if they run through this SEC tournament. So we got a lot to look forward this year. James, what do you got to say to TJ?
Dude, TJ, thanks for doing this. You just got out of practice. What were y'all working on today? I'm sure it was something very exciting like bunt D or something, right?
Yeah. I mean, today was pretty easy. We just took a little BP, played a little catch, so I got to get out in center field and power shag a little. So show the guys that I can still play the outfield. So when they're not making the plays for me, I can get after them.
That's right, sure. Dude. Power shagging is a sport in itself, man. Everybody loves it.
100%. Well, hey, dude, I was looking through some of your numbers today, and I just want to let you know, in case you get in the bind tomorrow, you've thrown over 1,300 pitches this year, and only 11 have landed for extra bases. That's less than 1%, bro. So you get in a jam tomorrow. Just know that you just need to trust your stuff, bro, like you've been doing all year, and things should work out for you. So, yeah, no problem at all.
Dude, and so another cool stat that I came across, and like we're not like a huge stat podcast, so we're not going to dive too deep into it. But you have 2 complete games this year and also 2 saves. Like you got to be one of the only guys in the SEC that has ever done that, from what I can think of. Most of like the number 1 aces on the mound, they don't want to risk their arm going out of the bullpen later that series. But you've done it before, and it looks like you're willing to do it in the SEC tournament too. Like you said earlier, whenever we were just chatting, you were like, "Yeah, man, I'm ready for whatever they need me this tournament. Like we're here to win it." So. That's something that I think our listeners would really appreciate, is just like you're ready to go whenever, wherever.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and I mean that's been one of the biggest things for me. I mean, ever since my freshman year, I didn't really know when I was going to get the ball, if I was going to be a starter, if I was going to be just a closer. And my freshman year, I would come in the second inning when the starter sucked, or I would come in the 8th inning, 9th inning to close it down. So it's just something that it's always been my mindset, to where I'm taking the ball whenever Coach Beasley gives it to me. Whenever the coach says, "Hey, are you ready to go?" It's always going to be a yes, and he knows that. And it's something that's going to happen this weekend. I'm sure this week, tomorrow, if they need it, I'm gonna take the ball and I'm gonna go out there and do my best. But
yeah,
it's an interesting thing. Like earlier this year, Texas A&M, we went into the 11th inning, and I was like, "Coach, like we need to finish this. Like let me go to the bullpen. Let me go to the bullpen." He's like, "You're probably starting tomorrow." I said, "Well, I'll throw 9 strikes, 9 pitches, and we'll get out of here then, and I can start tomorrow." And finally we got a few innings deeper, got to that 15th inning, and took a lead. And he's like, "All right, it's your time to get hot." So when we scored that run, I got hot pretty quick, and was fortunate enough to go in there and get 3 outs. And
yeah,
the next day I got the start, and it's just something that I've always had. I want the ball with the pressure on, and it's something that I live for pretty much.
That's awesome. I feel like you can't really teach guys to be competitive, and you definitely seem like your type of dude who's like, I just want the ball, no questions asked. Like, let me get after it. So, when it comes to like closing down these games, both complete games and out of the bullpen, like those last couple outs, man, those are adrenaline packed, and a lot of emotion comes out. So I want to get your thoughts on emotion in today's game, because like people that watch baseball, you've got these dudes who played 10 or 15 years ago telling us about how the game's supposed to be played. And like I kind of disagree. Like, you play the game now. How do you think the game should be played? Like, you get that last out, A&M on the road, kind of just talk us through emotion in the game, like for the pitching side, the hitting side, and what you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think emotion is a huge part of a baseball game at any level. You got to play with some fire under you. You got to play hard. So, I think emotion is always a good thing. I think there are times where emotion can get a little too much, but at the same time, I mean, if you strike a guy out in the bottom of the 9th inning with bases loaded to win a game, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to come off the mound fist pumping, smacking your glove,
not hurting anybody's
feelings.
Yeah, just
getting
going out
the
there and
whole
having
team.
fun.
Yeah, and I mean, if someone hits a nuke off me, I mean, I'm not gonna like it, but hey, if you want to watch it for a couple seconds, make it respectful. But I'm all right with you pimping it a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just part of the game. I think people get a little too butthurt. I think sometimes about little things like that. They get a little too personal. But I think emotion's a huge part of the game. I've always played the game with a lot of emotion. I've always been the guy who's out there cussing up a storm when I can't throw a curveball for a strike. so
Max Scherzer-esque, yeah.
Well, I just want to finish up on that thought, and I personally feel like Ben and I both know that you guys put in so much work, and I feel like you guys just work too hard and put too many hours in just to not like let it all loose in those couple of seconds when everything's like really out there and when it's really worth it. So that's just kind of my perspective on it, and so it's nice to hear you kind of have the same thoughts on it.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, the fall workouts when I'm not sure if I'm going to make it through the next 5 minutes, it sucks.
We've been there, man.
I mean,
We've been there.
It's all worth it. And once you're out there doing it, it's kind of hard to look back and appreciate it. But once you get to be mature enough to do that, you're wow, those are some good times, and that's why I feel like I can show the emotion. That's why I feel like I can go out there and pretty much do what I do at any time.
Yeah, no, exactly. And emotions are going to be running high for this SEC tournament because you got a lot of teams not only fighting for seeding, but like you got hosting applications, you got national seeds, like you got a bunch of teams there to try to win it to improve the resume. Because the SEC this year, man, you guys just beat up on each other like from start to finish. There was probably 11 or 12 teams that I could see like talent for talent being with anybody. So you got Florida rolling in, I think is like the 11 seed in this tournament, but like they could come out and beat anybody like talent wise. So that's what makes this tournament so great. And like, I'm sure your head is kind of looking for Ole Miss tomorrow, but yeah, like your numbers this year in the SEC have been one of the best that we've seen in a long time. Like 1.57 ERA, 2 complete games, 69 innings pitched. Nice. 76 strikeouts. And hitters are only hitting 172 against you. So what is it like about the SEC that like you still found success in it? Like, was it relying more on off-speed pitches versus like if you're playing a non-conference game, like, you can probably get your fastball by people. Go about like what was kind of your mental preparation going into these SEC games with all the talent in there?
Yeah, and I mean, I think you touched on it the most. It's the mental game. I mean, You have 4 pitches, and if you can throw 4 pitches for a strike at any time, you're going to be really tough to hit. It doesn't matter what conference, what level you're at. It's going to be tough to hit. So I think that's been the biggest thing with me this last year and a half. I've started to find the command of my curveball, slider, changeup, as long as my fastball that I feel like I can throw it in any count. I can throw it to any batter. Obviously, you got to be smart at sometimes, but I think that's been the biggest thing is just having 4 pitches that you can throw for strikes.
Yeah, and so going off of that point, James and I were talking before the show. We want to know who is like your least favorite hitter in the SEC to face. Like you've been in the league for 3 years now. It can be anybody from your freshman year to your junior year. But like, was there one guy where you're like, oh god dang it, why do you have to come up to the plate right now?
I would say number 1 would probably be Shoemake. He swings and everything, and it's early and often, so you kind of got to be careful with him. And he's got great hands. He can get to a fastball up and in. He can cover the outside part of the plate, so he's a tough one. I would also say Austin Martin these last 2 years.
Oh yeah.
I got him this year. I got him this year, but last year he gave me fits. And I mean, this year I got lucky. I got lucky as hell. He hit 2 shots off me right to our guys. So
that's good, man.
Yeah, it's about getting lucky too, I guess. But those 2 guys are just phenomenal hitters, and I mean that's not even scratching the surface with some of the guys you got in the SEC. But those are probably my top 2 toughest.
I'm sure you're on their list though on the other end, bro. I'm sure you're on their list too. They wouldn't be too happy to see you. So that's awesome.
All right, so we asked this with all of our guests. It's we want to hear a little bit about your recruiting story, and that's mostly because our fans want to know. Like we have a lot of listeners that didn't get a chance to get recruited by any schools really, and the ones that did get recruited and played college ball, like they like hearing about these stories because every story is different. So like, what schools were looking at you? You're a kid from Iowa, so I'm sure that you had some schools up north and some schools down south too, kind of pitching their programs to you. So what was like maybe your final 2 or 3 schools you were looking at, and maybe if you went on any visits, like what was going on with those?
Yeah, and actually, it's funny you say final 2 or 3. Really, it was only 2.
It was only 2. Okay.
Yeah. I was a dude. My town had 4,000 people, maybe, in it, and I was a small town kid. We in Iowa we play baseball in the summer, so
Mm-hmm.
I played high school baseball my 8th grade year. So I didn't really get the chance to play summer ball and get recruited by those teams down south, the big
Yeah.
tournaments. I didn't really get the chance to play in those. So my recruiting was a lot different than a lot of the other guys I play with. Pretty much all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, the 2 schools that really liked me were Iowa and Missouri, and I ended up going to Missouri, but obviously Iowa was the one who wanted me really bad just because I was
Mm-hmm.
the home state guy. I had a pretty good high school career, and I knew the recruiting coordinator pretty well. He was
Mm-hmm.
from 20-30 minutes down the road. So they wanted me pretty bad. I mean, I went on a visit there. It was Iowa City's a good time.
Yeah, yeah, bro.
Yeah, Iowa City's a good time. Got to go to a football game. Still never had chills going down my spine like that. There's
Oh, I
nothing like
bet.
an Iowa football game. The whole state's there. It seems like.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool. But I actually found Missouri on my own. It was just a normal camp
Yeah.
over winter break, and my dad was like, "Hey, we got this little thing in the mail. There's a little letter, like an invite. Do you want to go and try it out?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I want to go to University of Missouri, SEC. Like, yeah, it was a no-brainer for me." And I was just it's another dude. I think my sophomore year of high school, and I went down there, and luckily I threw pretty well. The pitching coach, who is actually at Arkansas now, was the pitching coach at Missouri then, Matt Hobbs.
Yeah,
He
Hobbs, he's
was,
a good one. He's one
yeah,
of the best.
he's a good dude, really good dude. And he was like the first guy who really started recruiting me. So I got asked back to come to another camp, and luckily they kept going. I got to go to a visit in Missouri. I got to see all the nice facilities and everything. And the fact that they were in the SEC was probably my biggest reason that
Right.
I went to Missouri. I mean, I had a pretty good high school career, and I thought I was pretty good. But at the same time, I had my dad chirping in my ear, said, "Are you good?" And I said, I'm gonna prove it to you."
That's right.
So
Hey, there's
yeah,
nothing better than proving your dad wrong too.
yeah. And so yeah, that was a big thing going to play in the SEC against what I would say is the best college baseball conference in the nation.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, just dude after dude coming out every year. I mean, it was something that I really liked, and luckily it worked out. And then I got here. Actually, I threw a few bullpens for the coach who was here, and then he got canned.
Yeah,
So
I remember
that was another experience. We didn't have a coach for about a month, so we were like
No big deal.
working out. Yeah, we were like working out, but like no one really knew what to do. It was kind of on your own. And then we got Coach Beezer, who's been our coach the last 3 years, and he came in and said, "Yeah, we'll give everyone who's here a chance, but no promises." So I
Mm-hmm.
really had no idea how it was going to go my freshman year, and
Yeah, it was
then
like
my
a year-long
fall.
tryout, right?
Yeah, it was weird. My fall, like, it wasn't anything spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
I was just a normal freshman dude getting a couple innings here and there in the fall World Series and stuff. And actually, my first outing, my freshman year, the first pitch, I hit a dude in the head.
Nice. Good. Hey, it's only up
Send a
from here,
message.
bro. It's only
Send a
up from here.
Only
message.
up from there. So yeah, I hit a dude in the head the first pitch, and then ever since then it just started to click and got better and better. So that was kind of my recruiting story.
No, that's
It's
good.
a lot different, I think, from a lot of other guys. I mean, I was like I said, I was a small town kid. No one really knew a bunch about me, so I got pretty lucky, and it just shows that like, hey, anybody can make it. They'll find you, or if you got to find them, you got to do that. So it was really a cool thing, and I got really lucky, I think.
Well, the thing about, you mentioned like coming from a small town and only having so many days out of the year to play baseball. Like, and I know but like these major league teams, they love hearing those stories. Like they feel like there's so much untapped potential there, as opposed to a kid like who's maybe played baseball like 10 months out of the year for the last 5 years. They're kind of wary of those kids. So you got a lot going for you. And I also think it says a lot to stick through everything at Missouri, all the uncertainty, and like really coming out and earn your job year after year. I mean, super, super awesome. So if I was a major league team, I would be super interested. That's for sure. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, everyone else that I'm playing with now, they're like, oh yeah, like, who'd you play for summer ball? And I was like, dude, I played high school, and like, I'm sorry, like I don't know any of these guys you're talking about. Like I played catch into a net in my garage for 4 years in the winter. That's what I did.
Amazing.
So yeah, I'm a bit different from a lot of the other guys.
That's
for
awesome.
sure. And dude, I think our fans are gonna love that too. The fact that like you've done it your own way the whole time, and then you find yourself in like a lucky position at Missouri, and then you show up and you're one of the best pitchers they've had since Max Scherzer. So that's really cool, man. And so enough with this baseball stuff. Let's talk a little bit about your teammates, because it seems like you guys have a pretty like tight knit group there. You guys are always having fun. We watch you guys on SEC Network all the time. It looks like you guys have a lot of like fiery guys, like passionate guys about the game who, aren't scared to show emotion, and that's why we brought it up earlier. But we want to know a little bit about your teammates. So James, what was the question you asked me earlier about his teammates?
All right, so I got two questions. First one, so Ben mentions the fiery guys, but and we know that tends to come from the coaches. You kind of develop the personality of the coaches. So my question is, if you got your coach who's fired up at you guys, maybe a serious conversation, who is most likely to laugh during one of those moments, and why? Like who's the guy that's gonna make you guys all run because he just can't straighten up?
I don't know. I would say so. We got these twins. So
boy, that's always trouble.
Yeah, it's the twins. So we'll be like getting yelled at in like a meeting or something. And like it'll be just getting done, and then one of the twins will like chirp at the other one, and then they just start fighting back and forth, and everyone's just like, geez, they're doing it again. And that's probably those are the two guys who just like they're always on each other. They're always doing something to piss one another off. So those are the guys I think that would probably be the most fiery. I don't know if you guys probably saw the interview where the dudes are boxing in the back.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That's those two. We're like, you guys gotta like fight each other, wrestle or something in the back. So yeah, those two are a couple fiery dudes.
Okay, all right. So do they room together on the road? They stick that madness together, or what?
Yeah. We were actually just talking about that. We just got done with the SEC media, and they were actually both talking about it, and they're sitting in the back seat of the car next to each other because there was only like 5 of us, so we got to take a car because we waited a little bit longer. And they're sitting in the back seat of the car, and we're going around like a sharp curve, and he's like, "Would you quit freaking leaning on me?" He's like they just start yelling at each other and like jabbing each other in the back, and I turned around and I'm like, "Hey, are you guys like rooming together? Like, are you gonna be okay? Are we gonna have to make sure that you're both alive tonight, like to go to dinner?"
Amazing.
And they're like, "Yeah." We were just talking about it. They're like, "How many times have you guys just gotten in absolute fist fights?"
The stuff that the people want to know. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how many times you gotten in fist fights? So like, well, we don't really get in fist fights. We just like wrestle each other and like do like little like we'll just pinch each other all the time, like just dumb stuff. So,
dude, if I'm the coach, there's no way I would have recruited that man. Like, dude, you can take that somewhere else.
Yeah,
that's funny, dude. All right, and then so my question about teammates. I've asked this to a lot of people, and they always get just like a knee-jerk reaction, and then they go, "Oh, wait, actually." So I'm gonna see if you have the same reaction. It's which of your teammates, if they were running for the United States president, would you vote for, and why? Like, is there like one guy that you're just like, I want him leading our country. He's our dude.
Leading our
Or
country.
maybe we can spin.
I don't
Maybe
know
we
if
can
we got
spin this. Maybe we can spin this to who would you not vote for? Like, what teammate would you be like, no way am I voting for this guy?
I'll go. No way. Am I voting for Chad McDaniel? He's a catcher.
Can't trust those guys.
This is just a little meathead. A meathead who forgets where his own freaking glove is half the time.
That's amazing.
He would do some crazy stuff, but I don't know. As a president, I don't know if we got anybody smart enough to be the president on this year's team.
And that's why you should be rooting for Missouri baseball fans.
Yeah.
They're just a bunch of dudes that love the game of baseball.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I guess my last question, you mentioned those crazy twins. Who is the one person that everyone is terrified to room with? Because I don't know about you guys, but when I played, like, our coach would come on the bus and he would read out the names of who's rooming together, and it'd be like a little drum roll, like, who's going to get, Eric, And so I want to know if you guys have something like that.
So yeah, we got a freshman on the team. His name's Trey Robertson. He's a left-handed pitcher, so he's a little weird, but that's not why you don't want to room with him. So you don't want to room with him because the man falls asleep in like 0.4 seconds, I guess, and snores louder than anything. Anything ever.
That's me, bro.
They say if you don't fall asleep before him, you're not going to bed. So that's the one dude.
Man.
Yeah,
dude, you're lucky. That's got your name written all over it. I could see like Lefty, a mentor, like take the freshman under your wing. So I guess you won that one.
Yeah, I've gotten pretty lucky. I mean, I might have a little bit of in with the coaching staff, the guy who picks the rooms. So I've had the same guy for pretty much the whole season.
That's
one of
good,
my buddies. Man. So I got lucky there. But yeah, they switch it up on him, and there's always one guy a weekend who's like, Jesus, I didn't get any sleep last night.
Dude,
they fall down the stairs to the hotel breakfast, and they're like, dude, I didn't get any sleep last night. I've been there before. Dude, that's funny. Well, dude, TJ, thank you for coming on the show, man. This has been a blast. We'll upload this to like YouTube and our podcast, obviously, and we're rooting for you tomorrow, man. We have a big curse against Ole Miss, so your luck will be in your favor because we have expelled Ole Miss from our rankings just because they've embarrassed us multiple times, and like we just don't. We haven't found a reason why to like them yet. So you can see behind me, we got #Beat Ole Miss. We'll be watching tomorrow, man.
All right, awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate your time, man. All right, see you.